My sister is stealing my baby, took $10,000 and is demanding more. Should I send it? My 34 female wife, 36 female, and I have been together for over 7 years and have been trying to conceive via IVF and sperm banks for the last 3 years. My wife originally wanted to be the one to carry our child, but after 2 failed IVF attempts, I tried the treatment. We got no luck and both had to suffer the consequences of miscarriages. This was a traumatic time for us and we finally decided to adopt last year. Unfortunately, there is a bias against same-sex couples from adopting and fostering, so we always had a hard time talking to the agency. We were open to fostering and were going to give it a try. During this time, my sister-in-law fell pregnant with a one-night stand, and when we were talking about adoption and fostering parenting, she approached us and told us she wanted to give birth because of religious reasons, but had no desire to be a single parent. She asked whether we would consider adopting her child.
Okay, so this might be like, right place, right time type
one
situation.
Lady's trash is a couple of ladies' treasure. My wife was ecstatic and so was I. I brought up the possibility of a written contract, but my wife told me she trusted her sister. We paid for every pregnancy-related expense my sister-in-law had, the doctor's appointments, genetic tests she requested, lab works, ultrasounds, her random cravings at 3 a.m. We even paid her rent for the 3rd trimester. She decided on C-section because she was scared, so we paid for delivery and hospital stay. Just after she gave birth, we came to visit her to talk about rights transferring to us. She told us she was keeping the baby and wasn't giving it to us because she didn't believe we were ready for a baby yet.
Weren't you the one that wasn't ready for the baby?
My wife was devastated. She cried herself to sleep for several days because we put the adoption on hold and had everything ready for the baby to come. Her nursery was ready and my wife painted the walls herself. We understood that the sister-in-law probably felt the maternal instincts kick in and decided to give everything we purchased for the baby to her because she was a single mom with no ready needs. It seems like someone's unprepared.
A lot.
We also decided to pay the remainder of the birth expenses as a gift to her. My wife insisted that she needed all the help she could for the new baby. A few days after the incident, I went to my mother-in-law's house, and this is where my sister-in-law currently lives. She was on the phone, probably talking to a friend of mine, when I heard the baby mentioned, and I eavesdropped. I shouldn't have done it, but I just couldn't help myself. She was talking to her friend about how she knew from the beginning that she wasn't going to give the baby to us sisters, and that her sister was an idiot to think that she would allow her baby to be brainwashed by us.
Oh God, is this going where I think it's going?
I was honestly shocked. My sister-in-law was never really close to me personally, but my wife always thought she was her best friend. I never knew that she was against our marriage because she never voiced her opinion about it. Here's where I may have been the asshole. I left my mother-in-law's house and got home, got everything I could fit inside our SUV and donated it to a homeless shelter. I made 3 trips in total to give everything away. I was honestly so mad. My wife came home to an empty room and asked me what was going on. I told her the whole story. While she was shocked at her sister's reactions, she told me I had no right to give away the baby stuff and her sister really needed it. I couldn't understand after what she said about her, my wife could still protect her, which I guess it's like, it's your sister, even if she's a massive
Yeah, that's a rock and a hard place type situation right there.
When my sister-in-law found out, all hell broke loose. She berated me on how she was a single mom to a baby now, how she needed these things, how she didn't prepare for the baby's arrival because she depended on us. I told her to kick rocks.
Yeah.
After spending over $10,000 on her expenses, I was beyond frustrated to allow her to continue. She told me that these things were meant for this baby and I was wrong for giving her things away. My mother-in-law has called my wife to tell her how selfish I was being for my actions and that we should at least help sister-in-law with the upcoming expenses because my mother-in-law is on a fixed income, unable to help, and sister-in-law wants to focus on raising the baby rather than working. From my understanding, we owe her nothing, and we have already helped her tremendously, but my wife feels incredibly guilty and wants me to help a new mom. I understand that she is in a bad place, but how she acted is way beyond what I'm comfortable with dealing. Although I also feel incredibly bad because I may have put the baby in a bad situation, I am starting to think maybe I was the asshole to donate the stuff meant for the baby. So Reddit, am I the asshole for not wanting to help my sister-in-law with her baby expenses and for donating the stuff meant for her baby? There is an edit But I want to hear what you think, John. Is OP the asshole?
Maybe they're both the asshole. Maybe OP's asshole a little bit for betraying the stuff, and definitely the sister-in-law.
But who is she the asshole
to the baby?
To the baby.
I would say the OP
and I
is.
think maybe her wife, because it's like that stuff is probably hers too. Like, I mean, they're sharing it. So, edit. Thank you for your kind responses. Some of your answers really made me think about how I should approach the topic. I will apologize to my wife because I didn't have her approval getting rid of the things that were also hers. I didn't consider her feelings. I will also discuss the option of therapy with her. This all feels surreal, and I will be taking time to digest some of the responses and think on everything. Also, huge thanks to some of you guys suggesting to look for LGBT-friendly adoption centers. I can't believe I didn't think of that. The adoption topic will be put on hold while we process all of these events. I will probably post an update after things have settled. And a small clarification, apparently my sister-in-law became a born-again Christian when she moved to my mother-in-law's house. An acquaintance told us that she basically believed this baby was a sign from God to change her ways, warn everyone against sin and becoming sinners. All the power to her for her beliefs. I didn't expect her to deem us sinners. I'm not giving her power to her beliefs if that's how she treats people based on her religious beliefs.
You know, it's kind of funny when it's like, hey, everyone don't sin. I'm going to go have this one night stand over here.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, not that I think that's even a sin, but come on now. Like,
double standard.
Come on.
Double standard. But I let us know what you guys think. What would you do if someone basically stole the baby that you paid for? Which is a dumbed down
when
version
you say
of
it like that, it hits different. I just drove through a drag race and decided to crash their party. I called the police to shut them down. Am I the a-hole?
I always mix up drag races and drag shows.
You know, I had the exact same thing. When I was reading this title initially, I was like, oh, drag race. The vroom vroom. I am a pizza delivery driver. I was on my way home an hour and a half later than usual after an extremely busy night where I didn't get back from my last delivery until 45 minutes after closing time. About halfway home, I get to an intersection that is unavoidable for me that has been taken over by a large crowd of teenagers with cars all decked out for street racing, holding some kind of drifting competition or exhibition.
Teenagers.
Nobody in the crowd looked to be over 20 years old, but there was at least 100 to 150 people there.
150 people? That's a big event.
I felt like I was in a Fast and Furious movie and I was with Dom's whole crew, but I wasn't part of the family.
Aww.
Big sad. In my defense, I did call the cops first and was informed they had already been called and were about 45 minutes out. After this disheartening news, I saw that I had room to weave through the cars parked at the intersection and get right up to the front of it, since the car that had been there had taken its turn drifting, more like doing regular donuts. I guarantee not a single one of these cars had better than a stock 4 banger. I guess
Stock 4 banger.
Wow.
Wow, nice. This show was sponsored by your sweet, sexy ass.
If you support our Patreon, you'll get one long, hard, extra bonus episode every week.
I'm talking 3 juicy stories right into those ear holes.
You'll get ad-free episodes. I'm talking all of those ads completely off. All natural.
Not to mention, we'll do it together, live, in front of a camera. With Assholes Anonymous, you'll get a chance to talk to us directly and maybe be featured on the YouTube channel.
Wait, say, but not like that. Like, the fans get to share their stories with us and other fans, and we get to talk about it, right?
And then we'll moon each other at the end.
Oh, God.
So if you want all that axe ass, support your boys at patreon.com/OKOP show.
That's patreon.com/OKOP show. So I moved up, started short, rapid honks, and drove slowly into the crowd. They mostly parted in front of me. Some tough guy types tried to intimidate me by standing there like they wouldn't move 10 feet in front of me, but they all got out of the way by the time I was within 5 feet. Kids, I'm in my mid-30s, anything under 20 is a kid to me at this point, were banging on my car, but I kept going.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a second. I had a pizza to deliver. Dude.
Oh,
he's delivering
shit.
a freaking pizza. I had to stop to let someone who was waiting for his turn to drift facing the wrong way down the street to get out of my way, and they kept banging on my car. Thought they were going to break a window or one of my mirrors, but when I finally got home and checked, there was no damage.
Nice.
So, am I the a-hole for not just waiting for the cops to break everything up? And if so, by how much? So I think we have a little bit of a two-layer am I the a-hole here. There's calling the cops in the first place and then ultimately like driving through the crowd.
I mean, they're doing something illegal. I don't think he's the a-hole for moving through an illegal thing to do a non-illegal activity.
And to me, it's also like, because some things are illegal, but kind of fun and cool or whatever, which this kind of is, but it's like in his way.
Yeah. This sounds exactly in OP's way. So I don't think OP is the a-hole at all. And I don't think he's the a-hole for calling the cops either.
My man is dedicated to his pizza delivery.
Yeah. Man is going to deliver in 30 minutes or less. I purposely told my parents the wrong time for my wedding and they are furious, but I'd do it again. Am I the a-hole?
It's not actually a smart move, but it is such a hilarious way of making sure your parents aren't at your wedding.
Oh, sorry. I mean, like, I must have gotten the dates mixed up.
Yeah.
So my male 33 parents are late for everything, like everything. Both of my sisters and myself have been disappointed so many times. Graduation ceremonies, birthday parties, even my father's retirement dinner. It is completely my mother's fault. She's a wonderful woman and I love her dearly, but she does not understand the concept of punctuality.
That's tough.
Yeah. I feel like you just need to get a shock collar for your mom then. Every time she's late, start zapping her until she gets there.
That is one way to do it, Sam. You're so kind to your mother. It really inspires me, man.
Thanks, Mom. I have seen her talking to her sister on the phone and reminded her she needed to be at my baby sister's dance recital. She waved me off and arrived after my sister had danced. That's so bad. That's just inconsiderate.
Yeah, I think so.
We are all used to it. My dad is just done trying to get her to be on time for anything. My now wife, female 28, told me in no uncertain terms that if my mother was late for our wedding, she would do terrible, terrible things to me. She was only half joking, but she was a witness to my mom and dad driving halfway through my cousin's quinceanera. Halfway through.
Dude, like, especially a wedding, like, I can get even being late to like a quinceanera or something, but which is already bad. But a wedding?
So OP has a plan.
Okay.
Here is what I did. It is completely on me. My wife is not involved. If there's a dick move, it was completely mine. When we were getting samples for the wedding, I talked to the printer and had one special invitation printed with the time on it stating it was 1 hour earlier than the actual start time of the ceremony. Pretty smart.
Not bad at all.
Also selling it all the way with an actual invitation with the time. Pretty smart.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like 5 hours to 3 hours in advance.
Yeah, honestly, with how late these parents, I would have done 3 hours.
Yeah.
You never know. My mother was beside herself, apparently, when they left the house and thought they were going to miss the wedding she was part of with her and my mother-in-law lighting the candles. We would use to light the unity candle and stuff. When she arrived and noticed other people were also just arriving and parking, she was so relieved that we were starting late that she just went with it. So she was invited early to the wedding, was like late, was worried that, oh my God, I'm going to miss the whole ceremony, and then realized that it was starting late.
I mean, it sounds like it might just be the perfect crime so far.
So just, I guess, make sure no one finds out.
That's it.
The ceremony went off beautifully, and so did the wedding pictures and the reception. But the problem came last Sunday. My parents came over for a big family dinner, and we didn't bother starting the grill until they showed up, which was much later. She asked why everyone wasn't eating, and we just said we knew we would be waiting for them since they are always late.
Just the facts.
She said that she wasn't always late and had been on time for my wedding, which also, how are you not like self-aware of your lateness?
Yeah. At that point, when you're that bad,
that late. And also, like, even if like saying you were on time for a wedding that even if you believed it started late, like, then you're not on time. The wedding just started late.
Yeah.
She hadn't been. They arrived 45 minutes after the time on their invitation. And then my idiot cousin John, real name because it's common and he deserves people to know he is adult, snorted at her statement. A few other people giggled, smiled at this, and she picked up and asked what was so funny. I came clean and told her about the special invitation. She is pissed at me for not trusting her and making her look foolish in front of everyone. If my cousin had just controlled himself, she never would have known. So am I the a-hole for making this special wedding invitation?
Wow. Man.
And there's a little update, but I would love to hear. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely not. I think that was like a great plan. And like also like me, I've recently come to the thing of like, oh, when I'm like organizing things, I should have an hour buffer. This is like commonplace to people who like organize events for friends, but I'm like, yeah, that makes so much sense. So it's actually not even out of the ordinary, I would say, in some ways.
Agreed. Edit. So part of the reason she is mad is because she had her invitation framed. I guess she was just so proud of being on time for one thing.
Yeah.
Finally. To be honest, I was already planning a heist with my sisters to replace it with the real one in case she ever noticed the discrepancy between hers and the one we have framed in our home. And number 2, yes, we are Latinos. And no, I do not in any way consider it racist. How many of you guessed that? I have been to Spain and it's been an issue there too. And the Philippines. Basically anywhere those guys were in charge. And 3, stop defending John. He and I have spent 30 years messing with each other. I have an Am I the Asshole story that ends with me getting an offensive tattoo, $5,000 for the removals, and him getting a body cavity search at the Mexican border. I would post it, but it happened like 10 years ago. Wow. That's a prank war.
Still post it, buddy.
Yeah, I would still post it, OP.
Yeah, we might just read it.
But yeah, I don't think OP is the a-hole for what they did.
Not at all. It's like at that point, and it's just so bad on the mom. Like, be on time for you. Be like, I'm going to be there.
At least for the wedding.
Be like, I'm going to be there like 2.5 hours early. Cause it's like, would you rather be like super early, maybe?
Or miss your daughter's wedding or your son's wedding?
Come on.
Yeah, so bad. But let me ask you, who messed up most in your life by being late to something? Or what was a time that you were late to something and messed up yourself? I was not late to something, but when I was leaving San Jose del Cabo, I was like living there for a month, and this was during COVID, and I was leaving and I got like 3 hours early to the airport. And then when I was getting my COVID test at the airport, which you can do, there was a guy there and he was like, hey, like, you want this, to go a little faster? And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, hey, if you give me like $20, I could go like, you can get your results faster. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm okay. I'm like 3 hours early.
I'm a man of principle.
I don't need to bribe this dude. And then I wait 1 hour, no results. 2 hours, no results. 2 hours and 45 minutes, no results. The plane is boarding. And I'm like frantically like calling the thing. Like, where's my test result? 3 hours. They would not let me on. I missed my flight and I had to go get another COVID test. And so I learned my lesson. Always bribe the guy.
That is the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen.
Moral of the story, bribe people.
That's right.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Love you.